And it's on. It's another Thursday evening here at Hidden Treasures. This is Hidden Treasures with Ayanna and Morris. That sounds weird, right? It's like Ayanna, but where's Morris? And guess what? I don't even know. I don't know. He did tell me he wasn't going to be here. He was leaving me solo because I left him solo for 2 weeks. But at least I tell him where I am. You know what I mean? Like, he just flew the coop. Like, he left me. I feel like a single mother right now. And I don't know how I feel about that right now. It's tough work. It's tough work. So, Mo, if you're watching or if you watch this later, you didn't let me know where you were going, so I don't know what to tell the guests. But hi, this is Hidden Treasures with Ayanna and Morris. Morris is absent. The eclectic Christian perspective. Our foundation scripture is Isaiah 45:3. And we're just hoping that during the course of the show, you would find the hidden treasures that are within you, and also that you will be blessed by some hidden treasure that comes from the content of the show. So we're really excited about that. You are on the Matrix Studios Network from Bronx, New York, one of the best underground studios around. If you just want to be on the air and have a show, or if you want to come and record, there's so many great things to do here. So we definitely want to pick up this show. I also want to just encourage anyone, if you have not had the chance to check out some of the other show's lineups, please do so. Go to the website. You can also check out on Sundays, first and third Sundays, our sister Kay Brown hosts the show, The Journey to the Cross. So we want you to definitely go there and check that show out. So you know I'm running solo, right? So that means I need you to call in. Today, I don't want you to send a Facebook message. I don't want you to send an email because I'm not going to check it. And I won't see it until a week later anyway. I need you to call in, be my second host, because I'm solo. You know, it's just my other half is not here, all right? So I need you to call in. I need you to talk to me, 718-239-9200. It is on the air, on your screen as well. You'll be able to check that out, all right? So look, we have a great show today. We're going to get into a really good topic. We always try to give you something a little different. And one thing we definitely want to let you know, that Christ is in everything. Christ is not just on Sundays. You know, Christianity is not just a one-day thing. It's a culture. God is in every aspect of our lives. And so we are going to talk about the parental role in education. So you're a parent, we need you to listen up, okay? You're a teacher, we want to hear from you as well. And it might get a little sticky. We might have two different sides of the story. I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but we're going to talk about the parental role in education. We got some good information. And there's some interesting talking points, like pretty much to what extent have parents checked out of the education process? Are you just tired and you don't want to deal with it anymore? Where does the teacher's role end and the parent's role continue? When is too much enough and some not enough? When are the parents are just totally overbearing and some are just like, look, do your thing? Educator and parents, partners, not adversaries. These are some of the things that we're going to touch on. Maybe we'll get to all of that. Maybe we'll talk about some other things. I'm not quite sure. Now listen, if you can't really view the show, because I know sometimes people say they have a hard time streaming or catching it, you can also download the TuneIn app on your phone, okay? And you can also get this show on the phone. And if not, you know what to do. Go visit our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, check out Hidden Treasures, subscribe to our channel. You can see not only this show in the following days or so after the show, but you can see past shows that you may enjoy. Check it out. Give us your comments. Go to Facebook. We love it. We love it. We want to hear from you, all right? So listen up. Listen up. Listen up. I am going to... wait, let me just tell you something. I don't like leaving movies, and I'm not happy. And I saw a movie on Monday, and at the ending, it left me like, I hate that feeling. I don't know if I should shout it out. Should I shout it out? So it's called Repentance. And I was like, oh, this is going to be good. Forrest Whitaker's in it. Forrest Whitaker's great, by the way. He's always great in whatever he does. But the end of it left me like, I hate that. The other show, Call 911, left me like that with Halle Berry, like, at the end. I hate that feeling. And so that was my movie experience this week. It has nothing to do with the show, but I just wanted to share it with you and let you know how I was feeling. I took my vitamin B, so I'm feeling pretty good. I got my energy. So we're going to take you to, I think we're ready for the What's Happening Now segment. It's a little different. I hope Morris doesn't mind. Shh, I'm doing some different stuff, okay? So it's still the What's Happening Now segment when we like to talk about a variety of things. But it's pretty much in the form of a spoken word piece, so I'm going to use that. And then I have another little sort of What's Happening Now article segment that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. So we're going to take you to our next video that's coming up right now. It's entitled The Hypocritic Christian. All right, I want you to check out the video, and afterwards call in and let me know what you think, all right? The Hypocritic Christian.
The hypocritic Christian in the land of no religion, so easy to judge, but so hesitant to love. always preaching perfection, but living with an infection. And the world sees this and rises up with cries, pointing their fingers towards the building and saying it's all full of lies. But the problem isn't the building, because the church is the people who are broken and find hope under a steeple. They're all hypocrites and they all lie. No, we're all imperfect, but we try. I've been that kid who only obeys God when it's convenient. I've made bad choices and said, God, I'm sorry, when I didn't really mean it. I've had doubting faith, asking God, why did you bring me to this place? I've questioned the world around me. I've tried to be the God of my own life, and that never seemed to crown me. But I know that God is my ruler, so I give him my life. And I know if I never wake, I'll be in heaven tonight. So I know I'm not perfect, but Jesus died for my sins when I certainly didn't deserve it. Every day I'm fighting, trying to conquer my own flesh. And every day I realize it needs to be God more and me less. Cause I'm getting weary of this fake smile, acting like everything's the best. I've tried to lay my head on my pillow, but only in him can I find rest. Cause each new battle brings some of the same old temptation. And I know I could always give in and say, oh, shame on you, Satan. But I'm not doing this on my own. God's with me when I'm all alone. He's there when I fail, and he doesn't define me on my past, and he lets my sins sail away. Cause Christ died then for my today. So if by hypocritic Christian you mean imperfect, then yes, I am him. But that's the reason I'm not the one I put my faith in.
So what do you think, huh? Mo, if you're listening, you're watching, how did I do? He usually likes to pick the videos because I think he thinks I'm whack about it. But I think that was a pretty good one. And the reason why, not just because, as you know, I love spoken word, but because I thought that was a really important topic. A lot of times, you know, everyone is quick to talk about Christians, and y'all are supposed to be so quick to tell us how we're supposed to be. You're supposed to be like this, that. Maybe they know a little bit about the word, maybe they don't. But they say, look, you can't talk about me. You're supposed to be like this, that, and the other, and your life doesn't compare. But I love this piece because this person wanted to talk about what does it really mean to be Christ-like, which means we're forever becoming like him. And I think people need to realize more and more that the church is like a hospital. And what better place to be than to be and to recognize that you are sick, that there's a better place to be, a better way to be, and that's the place to get better and to get well. And so it's not so much about being hypocritical. I'm saying if you're dealing with a Christian that is trying to lie, like they're not living some way and they are consistently falling, well, maybe that's a hypocritical thing. But if you have someone who's just real and says, look, every day I'm trying to strive to be more like Christ, then that's something to realize, and that's something that you should aspire to do, possibly more so. I mean, I think way too much we hear people just saying, having a lot of comments, and then so a lot of Christians feel like I can't be transparent, and we like to talk about that here. Be transparent, be able to say, look, I'm struggling with this. God got me over that other thing last year, and right now I'm struggling with this, but I know God is going to get me through this because my desire is to be more like him. And if I could be transparent like that to you, then more than likely you might be more transparent and say, okay, I am struggling, but that means I can still come to God. Yes, we don't have to be perfect. Coming to him, being in him, we become more perfect. And I think the brother just said it so well about the hypocritic Christian. You know what I mean? We're not trying to be hypocritical. We're trying to be transparent, trying to be real. So I don't know. Did you like it? What did you think? 718-239-9200. You can send us a message on Facebook. You can email us at hiddentreasuresam@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. Did it inspire you? Did it encourage you? Did it make you think? And anytime during the course of the show, if you want to comment on it a little bit more, listen, let us know what you're thinking. All right? Anyway, I wanted to put that out there. I thought that was something that needed to be said and needed to be shared. All right? Enough of that. We're moving into our community happenings. Now, there are a lot of things that are going on, but I specifically wanted to continue to promote this one woman show because it is a one-woman show, because she was our guest last week and she stated there were going to be a lot of guests coming in, but also because it is next Saturday, the 15th, next Saturday. Doors open at 7. I think the show starts at 8 o'clock, okay? And you can get your tickets. So I'm going to stress all throughout the show. Showclix.com. That's SHOWCLIX.com. And then when you go in there, the keyword is Tiffany, Tiffini. Okay, that's the keyword. Look, go buy your ticket online. It's cheap. Go get it. They're not really trying to sell tickets at the door, and so we want to make sure that this woman is sold out. Come on, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate with her. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to have a lot of great fun. The flyer's up there. You're going to see her. And look, this is the last one-woman show she said she's going to do. So listen, let's not miss out. She has some good stuff to say. We talked about comedy as medicine as last week. So Tiffany, if you're watching, we're going to be there. We're going to support. And we hopefully all the hidden treasures with Ayanna and Morris's guests will be there as well. Let's support the things that people are trying to do. So check it out. Laugh at My Life with Tiffany Thrower, the Laugh Doctor. All right? All right. So enough said with that. I'm right on track with the time. I'm feeling good. I feel like smiling. I feel like being happy. So I'm going to take you to Tasha Cobb's video when she was live on TBN, and the song is Smile. And if you haven't downloaded, yes, she sings more than Break Every Chain. She sings Smile. And that's what we want you to do. All right? Check out the video. Smile.
Please welcome once again. Oh, I love it. The last song was Happy. Now she's going to sing Tasha Cobb's. She's going to sing Smile.
Here's my worship. Take joy in it. Make it your dwelling place. I want to put a smile on your face. I present my heart to you. I present my life to you. Come on, say, here's my worship. Take joy in it. Make it your dwelling place. I want to put a smile on your face. So I present my heart to you. I present my, I'll do it again, life to you. Here's my worship. Take joy in it. Make it your dwelling place. I want to put a smile. Come on, say, so I present my heart to you. And I present my life to you. Here's my worship. Take joy in it. Make it your dwelling. I want to put a smile. So I present my heart to you. And I present my, I'll do it again. And I love this part. It just simply says, so here's my worship smile. Thank you, Lord. Here's my life, Lord, smile. Come on, if you know it, sing along, say, here's my worship. Here's my worship smile. Come on, right where you are, raise that before him. Here's my life, Lord, smile. Come on, raise it up before him, say, here's my worship smile. Woo! Come on, tell him, say, here's my life, Lord, yeah, yeah. Sing it one more time, say, here's my worship, here's my worship. I give it all over to you. Say, here's my life, Lord. Come on, raise it real loud before him, say, here's my worship. Hey, here's my life, Lord, yeah, yeah, yeah. Say it again, say, here's my worship. I present my body as a living sacrifice. Here's my life. Yeah, yeah. Oh, so smile. I want to make you smile. It's real simple. Somebody just raise it up where you are. Say smile. Yeah, yeah. Want to make you smile. When I'm going in and when I'm coming out, I just want to make you smile. Yeah, yeah. Want to make you smile. So here's my life. Here's my heart. Say smile.
know. That makes you want to smile. I really like that song. And that was actually a song from one of her older CDs. And I think she re-recorded it, or actually a lot of the older songs that Tasha Cobbs have done has really gotten some exposure after Break Every Chain. So if you haven't heard the song or you don't have it, download it, go get it, purchase it. It was really great. I love it. It picks up my spirits and it makes me happy. So I hope it made you smile. So I want to introduce our guest. You know, I've known her for a little while. We go back, you know, kind of go back some ways, you know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you how far back, but you know. So, yes. So, I want to introduce our guest. Her name is Roxanne Brown Smalls. And she is our guest for the evening. And I just want to tell you a little bit about her because it's really great that she's here and she is with us. She comes with a wealth of experience. So I just want to give you a little bit about her. Now, I have a bio, like 3 pages long. I don't have time to read all of it, but it's really extensive and it's really great stuff about her. So let me tell you, what I tell you is just going to be a snippet, all right? But she has been a teacher for over 15 years throughout the New York City area, really teaching children throughout elementary school and the middle school years. She has also been elected to be one of 15 individuals taken into a program, the Principal Institute of Bank Street College. So she has not only been a teacher for 15 years, trained other teachers, developed other programs within schools, but now she's on the leadership track there. She, with her successful completion of the program, which is happening this May, so we're like 2 months. Woo!
Very excited.
She is going to be completing her program, but this is not her first master's. This is going to be her second master's degree. Her first one was in childhood and special education, and she's going to receive a credential of a New York State school building leader. So because of her stellar performance in the program and so much that she has done, she was chosen as one of 15 students to be a recipient of the Wallace Foundation Scholarship, which means that the majority of her expenses were covered by New York State Department of Education. And so with the acceptance into the program, she is going to be one of the leaders that's going to be leading soon a school and really making an impact on not only just the children and the parents, but also the staff and the teachers, developing everyone that comes into contact with her. So, Roxanne, it's such a pleasure to have you on our show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
She is, can you tell? She's smiling. She's
No,
excited
I really
to
am
be
excited.
here.
I am.
We're gonna talk about some good stuff, but before we even get into the topic of what we're gonna say a little bit, I could not let what was happening in the news go by without me talking about this, because one thing I stated in the beginning, that Christianity is in every part of our life. It's our culture. It's a way of life. It's a way of being, right? And the Bible talks a lot about parents, for children, how to honor their parents not to provoke their children, parents to raise their children up the way they should go, so that when they're old they won't depart from that way. And it really gets involved. So the Bible is just the guideline instructions for every area of our life. And so it was so interesting that this topic, parental involvement in education, is so key. But I had to talk about this young lady from Jersey, okay, who took out a lawsuit against her parents for financial support. So she is, I believe, a senior in high school. She moved out of her parents' house. Her parents said she ran away. She said her parents put her out. She's staying with the friends. She doesn't want to go back to her parents' house because she's saying she's doing okay with her friends. Her parents said, well, she's doing okay. She's 18. She's on her own. We want her to live with us, but live by our rules. That means, yes, we wanted her to break up with her boyfriend because it was just problematic at this time. We wanted her to come in at a certain time. And she was like, no, I don't want to do that. But what she did want her parents to do was to continue to pay for her prep school education and eventually pay for her college education. And so this is crazy to me that, she's suing her parents for financial support when obviously for 18 years they've already been supporting her and she has yet to pay that back. So to me, we're talking about parent involvement. She's trying to sue her parents for financial involvement, but she doesn't want the instruction and guidance, that type of involvement. To me, I was disgusted. I don't know. Have you heard it in the news?
Yes.
I
did.
was utterly disgusted because I was like, really? Can we? I mean, we've all gotten brazen with our parents in our teenage years and then we're like, whatever, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm in college. But this is crazy. This is really, really crazy. I mean, did you have thoughts about it? Have you seen it? What were you saying?
I think what really surprised a lot of people was the fact that here you have a child actually suing her parents. And I think a lot of people raised their eyebrows, really saying, how is this possible? And I think the fact also that she's 18 years old, and the question was, well, if she is 18 legally, how much should her parents still be very much involved? But there was definitely a moral issue. And then clearly we can look at it from a spiritual perspective. I mean, we know that we are in the last days, right? And the Bible talks about the spirit of love is being waxed cold, right?
Right.
So children going against parents. But to really see that, it's to me, it bothered me tremendously. It really did.
I mean, it was really, and I'm not going to stay on this too long,
Right.
but if you want to call and you have comments, please feel free to call in and let us know what you were thinking. But the, comments about abuse and other things like that they said were unfounded. And even the, attorney was like, look, she's doing fine where she is. She doesn't need to break up with her boyfriend. We need to really look at some things as a child. And even as society, we can't pick and choose where we want parents to be involved. If you're saying you want parents,
them to be
or
involved,
when we want them to be
right,
involved,
right.
and really side
agree
on
with
that,
that.
because then what you begin to do, you begin to have children all over. It's like, okay, well, I think my parents should be giving me more allowance, and I'm still not going to clean up my house or do my work or do anything else I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
That is foolishness. Foolishness. And you heard that on Hidden Treasures with Ayanna and Morris. Come on, what is this world coming to? This is out of control, and we can't do that. We can't do this. So I don't know. What do you think? I think we have a caller. There's a caller on the air. Hey, caller, you're on the air. Welcome to Hidden Treasures with Ayanna and Morris. Let's hear you.
Yes, good evening. I'd like to make a comment about this here thing that y'all talking about here with these children. I think it's disgusting that these children are taking advantage of these parents like this. I don't think that they realize how serious it is of the things that the parents have been through to just raise the child up until the age of 18.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And you seem very passionate about this as well. I assume that you may be a parent or a grandparent or some type of guardian, and you know what it takes to really pour a lot into the children.
Indeed, indeed. It does take a lot to raise kids these days, and if the child would take a minute to realize a lot of the sacrifices that their parent or parents have been through just to keep them alive and give them food, clothing, and shelter, free room and board, and just a place to live until they get of age. I don't know about you, but my kids kiss my feet until I'll be gone, because they realize that I did my best to raise them the best that I could, and they see how it was when I was raising them and how kids are being raised today. They see the difference.
Thank you so much, caller. I really appreciate your comments. Thank you for calling in. It's been a pleasure having you. And you know what? Please feel free. You're the third host. Well, now it's three of us. You're the third host. So callers, please feel free to call in. Again, caller, we thank you so much for calling in and being a part of the show. And that's so true. Like, if you think, and the caller said free room and board and everything like that, the parents jokingly should have done a countersuit. It was like, okay, well, this is what we've done for the last 18 years. We're suing you for this now. How about that?
Right,
But if that happened, it would be ridiculous, right? It would sound ridiculous just as much as this sounds ridiculous as well. So thank you for calling. Listen, we're going to get into the gist of our topic. Seems like a ridiculous way to demand parental participation, but we do want to talk about parent participation in education. And the reason why we wanted to talk about it, because there's so much conversation going on now with education in the news. You hear it in different ways, and just even you see it. And I really want to talk from your experience as one who's going to be eventually leading a school, but having been in the trenches for 15 years, one of the things we talked about is, before I get into talking points, let's be general at first. When you're talking about parental involvement in education, what are you thinking? What do you think?
Well, that's a good question. Parental involvement, to me, when I hear those words, simply means allowing parents to participate to a certain extent, right? Or to participate, but only to a limit. I was in a SOT meeting at my school, which is a school leadership team meeting, and which is comprised of several parents, teachers, and the administration. And every school has this. Every school has what is called a school leadership team. And what's important to realize is that it's now recognized that in order to really run a school and to really teach students, you need all the constituents. You know, it's not just the teachers who's going to make it happen. It's not simply the administration, but it's really the parents must be involved. So we were talking about in my school, I teach in a middle school in Harlem, and we are developing a focus group for parents because we really want parents to be engaged, right? And I'm going to talk about that word in just a few moments. And so one parent said, for so long, the school, and she's talking about the school term as a system, she says for so long the school has kind of put off parents, you know, only told them what they had to do, and so parents have been kind of turned off to it and said, okay, well then let them, you know, do what they're supposed to do with my kids. So when I hear parent involvement only means I need you only to a certain extent and to a certain limit, and then that's it.
We have a caller, but before we take the caller, it's very interesting that you said that. And did other parents feel that way, that when they heard parent involvement, it was to a certain extent, so that is why they stepped back, or was that just a unique perspective?
I'm going to assume that she was a voice of many.
Wow.
You know, so she represented many families. But she clearly said that in her experiences, it's always been, you know, the school, which is kind of very standoffish.
Wow.
Now, can I talk about that for a second?
Wait, before you do that, we have a call on the air.
Oh,
Caller, you're on the air. Caller, if you are in the room where your computer is, we're going to ask you to step away from your computer for a second so that you can speak and not hear the feedback. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Step out the room. All right, callers. So let me just say some things to the callers. I know you guys are like, okay, I want to call and I want to see myself and I want to hear myself on air. But what we need you to do is step away from your computer, go into another room, and then you can hear the conversation. I know there's a slight delay from our live to the streaming. Okay, so please call back, callers, 718-239-9200. We want to hear from you. But go ahead, what you were going to say.
Okay. So as you know, that currently there is a shift that's taken place in the education system. So our traditional system, as we once knew it, no longer exists. So when we talk about a teacher-directed classroom, the teacher stands in front of the classroom, kind of teaches the lessons, and the students are just passive listeners, that's no longer the case. So now there's a lot of ownership and responsibilities that's placed on teachers now, which I support in terms of shifting the way we teach, shifting instructional practices. With that in mind, there's a shift on how we see parents. And I agree that for too long we talk to parents and not really talking with parents.
Wow, that's a good point.
And so now we're doing away with the terms parental involvement or get parents involved. We're now looking at parents as partners, and what our goal is to have parental engagement. Now, you know, with under our new mayor for New York City, and as you know, I'm a New York City teacher, and under a chancellor, Carmen Farina, she has a really strong objective, and that is really to develop this sense of engagement with families.
So let me just stop you right there. So if anybody who's watching and listening and you are a parent or potentially will be a parent, it seems like it's very important to make the shift in the mind now.
Absolutely.
That it seems like involvement was based on where the school said they needed me. So I'll volunteer for the bake sale or I'll volunteer for this and that.
Right.
Rather than it's about engagement and partnering, especially if teachers are changing how they are teaching, involving students more in the learning process, then the parents would be seem to be actively involved in that part as well. So a switch needs to happen in our thinking.
Right. And so in some school communities, it's a gradual shift, and other communities it's happening much more rapidly. But the big push is that it's happening. So which means that, as I mentioned earlier, that every school has a school leadership team, which is comprised of parents. where parents have an active voice in the budget, in terms
Wow.
of the personnel, in terms of what actually goes on within the school system.
Okay, can I say something to that? Because then one of the questions or talking points is when is too much enough and some not enough? So what about some of the schools that are saying, okay, the parents are running the school and so the teachers can't do what they need to do, or administration doesn't need to do what it needs to do? And that those questions have come up, and now you're saying the school leadership team, the parents are involved even in the budgeting. How does that play into that?
Okay, so when I said that the teachers, that the parents are involved in the budgeting, every administrator has like a budget plan, and his or her goal is to sit in front of a panel, a board, which helps support him with, or her, with their endeavors in terms of how to run a school. So then therefore he or she must lay out, like, this is what my plans are to run this particular school, and to run, to teach and to educate our
Transparency.
students, and absolutely. So, and that's why parents' voices are so important. You know, I think for so long we have limited our resources by not including parents, and that's where the
a good
shift
point.
is really happening. So in some communities, their parents are very, very resourceful, very knowledgeable. So if you can get them involved, you'll be surprised in terms of how many parents and families can actually write proposals, can actually know where to go in terms of getting resources that your school might need, or supplies or equipment, or just more information for your students. Then you have those communities so parents realize or don't realize their self-worth, right? And so then that's what we're talking about, getting to the communities where families have just kind of taken the back seat for one reason or another, whether or not they were told, or whether or not from past experiences, you know what, I just need you to come in to pick a report card.
Right.
But that whole mentality has changed. So now we're trying to get back into the communities and reach out to those parents and say, listen, we need you.
Wait, stop right there, because this is a good point that I want us to get back to. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good evening. My name is Phil. Just listening to the comments that were being made by Ms. Smalls. I just wanted to commend you on the effort that you and the teachers are making. I know that it's just you here, but you're definitely speaking on behalf of your school that you work at. I think that that's an awesome thing, to be able to have the parents involved in with the teachers. I know that from my experience, it's always been hard to get a parent, you know, a working parent, to get involved with their child, because there's such a challenge between, if I may say, you know, being tired, and then you have to deal with your child and you want to go to sleep. But, you know, it's awesome to have something that's worth for the parent to be involved in, that can keep their eyes open. You know, that's not a small thing, and I just wanted to commend you on that.
Great. Oh,
Thank you.
so
That
much.
was actually a good point. Thank you, caller Phil. We appreciate you calling in. And I guess anybody else who would like to call in, we definitely want to include you in that conversation. But did you want to address that?
Absolutely. So the young man who just called talked about parents being tired, or parents working, and that's a good point. And I think in the past, in the traditional school setting, you know, it was not considered about the parents' schedule, whether or not they work nights, or whether or not they are working and going to school, or whether or not there are other siblings involved. Now we're more conscious of that, and we're trying to figure out, okay, so if this time doesn't work for you, then what time would work for you? And I think what's really key is the whole term of a partnership, right? So which means that I can't do this job in terms of teaching, or inspiring, or motivating, you know, or developing a young student's mind without parents. It's almost impossible. And an effective school and an effective administration recognize that and will include parents in the work with their children. Parents, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Parents have a voice in terms of the curriculum. Parents have a voice in terms of the instructional strategies that she feels might work for his or her child. Parents have so much say so that they don't even realize it. So in some communities, parents are very much aware of their rights and their authorities, and they exercise it. Yes, now I would imagine in some communities you do have some parents who really might go overboard on that. But I'm really talking about those communities of parents who don't know their worth. And we're trying to reach into the communities and say, listen, we need you. What's happening?
Can I tap into
yes,
that? Because
please.
I heard worth two ways.
Right.
One, and I want you to continue that.
Right.
The caller mentioned making sure that whatever they get involved in school is worth their time, which is a valid thought. And then you said also the parent knowing what their worth is to be able to contribute. So can you continue with that?
So the college's call has said that it's got to be worth my time, and I agree with that. So no longer can we just call parents in and say, listen, we're doing a fundraiser for this event and we need you to support, right? It's got to be something where as we find out as a school, what is it that families need? You know, what is it in the community that the school is serving? What are the needs, and can we provide those needs for those parents? And what we're doing in our school is we're developing a focus group, and we're working with this community-based organization, which is awesome. And for us, it's a Harlem Council of Elders, and it's a community-based organization in Harlem, but that particularly works with schools and goes into the schools and say, listen, how can we support you and engaging parents, right, and reaching out to parents. What can we do? And that's it. And it's no longer can we look at schools as just being this entity, this separate entity, but now we have to look at schools as being an integral part of the community, which means that all of the community services around it, families, we join in together, we collaborate, we share, and then we come with a plan of action that can best meet the needs of our students. And that's really the mindset that we have to go.
I wanted to pose a question to the audience and this is connecting to a statement that you said a parent made earlier to even what you're saying now. Have you ever felt like, look, I want to get involved, I want to be there with my kids, and you felt kind of pushed back, like, okay, we don't need that much help, or just do a little bit of that? And I'm curious, did you ever feel that way? If you did, give us a call in. And now, would you, now that you have these SLT, these school leadership teams, you said, where it's saying, okay, we want more of your involvement, how would you then respond to that? How would you, I'm interested in knowing what some of our audience would say. Well,
Absolutely.
okay, wow, now that's there, how would I respond? What would I do if given that opportunity? If at one time I was pushed back a little bit, and I'm given the opportunity, what would I say? What do I do? So if you ever thought about that, please call in or send us an email. But I just wanted to pose that question to them.
And so let me go back just a little bit and talk about this whole new shift within our system. And the new shift is not taking place just in the education system in New York, but it's actually happening nationwide.
Okay.
So we talked about the Common Core learning standards. The idea behind it is to have a set standards that every school and every community and every state can obtain. So it's trying to unify which was probably at one time a very fragmented set of standards. So now we're trying to put it into one. But it's not easy to digest. It's new. It's a shift. So parents don't know a lot about it, right? So
Continue. I'm
all
sorry.
right. So therefore, schools are reaching out to families to come and ask questions. Let's look at the standards together. What is it that you can do to help us in the classrooms, and what is it that we can share, what you can also support at home, right? So when we let students know that there's a united force, where families, community, organizations, and educators coming together, it's the amount of work that can be done is just unreal.
I like this because, and I wanted to talk about this because one of the points was about educators and parents, partners, not adversaries.
Right.
And I'm, so many times it's like, okay, I got to fight for my kid, or they called me just to say what my kid did wrong. And I like this idea of everyone coming in. So with that being said, what about the parent that feels, and I know we have a call in the air, but what about the parent who feels, I don't have that much to add. Even if you sat me down to say what the expectations are, I don't know what quite to do. So hold on to that thought because I want you to address that. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, thank you. Listen, I'm interested in the shift that you're talking about. I'm not from New Jersey. I'm from New York.
Okay.
However, what kind of advice could you give us teachers from New York? I don't want to give my name or my school that I work for or work with. But is there any advice that you could give? Like, is there any kind of literature that we could look up to see if we can do what you're doing in our schools here in New York?
That's a
Thank
great
you for that.
question. And thank you, caller, so much. There is a lot which you can do. There's tons of information if you go on, like the New York City Department of Education website. There's tons of links there,
And not just for teachers, but for
resources.
parents as well, right?
There's particularly
Right.
for parents and teachers. But honestly speaking, we are really, we just really had to sit down, just as a school. We have to sit down and say, listen, we want to turn this around. We no longer want just 5 or 6 people coming out to like a parent association
Yes.
meetings, right? And we kind of revamped that. So we've taken a celebratory events, and instead of saying, listen, come to a meeting so we can talk about, fundraisers, we now celebrate the learning that's going on in the classroom. So part of the shift is now recognizing, bringing parents, allowing the opportunity for parents to come into the classrooms and see the learning that's taken place, right? So then celebrate the learning. So that's part one of this shift, right? And so we talk about the autonomy of learning that's taking place in the classrooms within the teachers. So we talked about the role of teachers changing. So we're now more facilitators. We navigate the learning, but the culture, the climate in the classroom is whereas students are learning from one another. In a sense, whereas they're supporting one another, they're having dialogue, asking those critical thinking questions. Now, parents need to see this, right? So you have celebratory events. You invite parents in to just kind of come in and sit in on what might be like a learning group discussions, right? And then you have them listen to the kind of critical thinking conversation dialogue that's going across the tables. It is unreal. It's beautiful to witness and see, but definitely has to be this new wave. That's the first start, right?
Wait,
so
can I say something
Sure,
to that?
sure.
So, caller, hopefully, I hope that gave you some resources as well, and continue to listen on to the show. So, hopefully, you can get some more resources. But I think that begins to touch on what we were asking about. What about the parent that feels that they don't have something to add?
Okay.
Because if they are sitting in on the classroom and they're seeing the group dynamic, even if they don't know what questions to ask, they know what is already expected of them in the classroom, right?
Right. So what you're allowing parents to do is to celebrate in this new form of learning, which in a lot of cases has not been the case, right? So you see a lot of partnership work, you see a lot of sharing out, and you see a lot of students taking ownership and sharing their thinking and their learning, right? And you have the conversations going on. Parents get a chance to see that. You celebrate the writing, you celebrate the speaking. You allow parents to come out on the celebratory events. When they do come out and they feel invested, and that's really the key word. Partnership means investment, right? So if I see that there's learning taking place, I'm more inclined to be invested in that learning, right? And want to contribute somehow. Now, let me also talk about parents. Now, we have a new shift in terms of L students, English language learners. So the demographics of our communities are changing and have changed, right? So we have a lot of immigrants coming who parents feel that either I don't have my status yet, I have nothing to say, let me just leave it all in terms of school. And so we're saying no longer that. So come in and let us help you, right? Regardless of your status as a citizen, we want to know that what you have to offer or how your child learns is something that I need to know. So then that's shift number 2, right? Recognizing that English language learners' parents, they too have a need. You also have parents of students who have some form of a learning disability, right? So we can't ignore those families either. So we have to understand that families of parents who are parents of students who might have a disability, they have so much voice on the work and the instruction, it's really powerful. And then that's what we want to get to a place where parents come in, so recognize their rights, and then we learn from one another. Oh, can we say one?
We do have a caller on the air. Hold your thought.
I'm really excited about this.
Oh, caller, you're gone. Listen, call back. We definitely
call
want to
back.
hear from you, because we do want to say, one, you do have a voice. This is some things that I'm
Absolutely.
hearing. You do have a voice. You don't have to be the teacher, but you do have a role, and you have an investment. And the investment is not just your child, it's the learning that happens, and you can be a part of it. You do have worth. You do add value. So you can come with the experience, your presence alone. You can sit in the classroom. So parents, and it is welcome. There is a shift that's happening. So you have voice,
Absolutely.
you have worth, and there's a shift that's happening where your involvement is engagement. Let's change the word, right? Engagement is definitely needed. What were you going to say to that?
And I was going to say that we're looking at equity in education, and that's where we're trying to redefine. And equity doesn't mean equal, right? But equity means that we all have access to it, right? So access to it meaning resources, it meaning information, it can be anything, right? And so in terms of developing parents as partnerships, as engagement, then we will allow equity to grow within our schools, within every community. So some communities require more of us outreaching, us going out to them, parents and teachers. I'm talking from the inside now, letting parents know that we welcome you, right? We need you, and we need to learn from you.
We have a caller on the air, but I think that's a key thing. Equity meaning access. Access gives our children opportunities. Opportunities
Absolutely.
opens up the doors for a different lifestyle. We have the opportunity to change lifestyle. So remember that key term. Hi, caller. You're on the air with Hidden Treasures with Ayanna and Morris. State your name, please. Caller, if you are in the room where your computer is, please step away from the computer because it's delayed. We can't hear you. Okay, caller, we're going to ask you to call us back, but
call
please
back
step
again.
out
Please
of the
call
room
back.
where your computer is so that you can definitely be heard. But you had another point that you wanted to make, and then I had a question that I want to ask about that, but go ahead.
So I really want to highlight the importance of our demographics changing, and I really want to talk about how if you are a parent or a guardian, and if you are a parent and you don't know English or English is not your primary language, that doesn't mean that you stay home, right? We need you, and your voice is most important, especially in terms in the instructional value and how your child best learn in a new school environment. If you are a parent of a child with a learning disability, that's also most important, because we need to know instructionally, what works best for your child. So no longer are we talking to you in terms, now I'm talking from within the school. So no longer are we educators talking to you about your child. We're talking with you, right? So we're sitting down at the table, and you have so much authority. Parents have no idea how much authority they have in terms of the work that we do with your children, and that's really the key.
Roxanne, what often happens is we come close to the end of the time and time flies. So what I really want you to leave our audience with is, within a minute or a minute and a half, some key things that you want them to think about their roles in education. And then I want to just say something to that. So about a minute or a minute and a half. So
I'll try really hard.
Try hard,
Okay,
please.
So let me speak from two perspectives. From being within the school system, if you're an educator, if you work within a school, there's a lot which you can help bring that shift within your school. There's a lot of outreach which you can do. So it's not just flyers, it's actually making phone calls. It's actually the language that you use with parents, like, we need you, come support us, let's sit down and talk. What do you think happens? And actually asking parents about their thoughts, their views, and their suggestions is most powerful. That's from within. And most schools have parent coordinators, right? And they're really key figures, and they help actually link between what's going on in the communities and what's going on in the school. So that person can be very useful and very powerful. But if not, teachers, we can be the voice to help bring the parents in. Families, now from the other perspective, parents, you have so much authority and so much power and so much voice. And if I can leave one thing, it's your presence is so important. It really is. We can't do the work that we do with your children without you. Honestly, cannot. You cannot make we cannot prescribe, we cannot make a document, we cannot create an educational plan without you. And so we need you, and you are an intricate part of what makes this work. And our educational system is really comprised of parents, educators, and communities.
What I want to say is, one, Roxanne, thank you so much for coming on the show. And I know you just dropped a little bit of information. You have so much more to give us.
I really do.
And one thing I want to talk about is when the Bible says, and this is the eclectic Christian perspective, raise your child up in a way that he should go. When he grows old, he won't depart from it. And this is part of it. Being engaged in the school system, you have authority, like you said, voice as to how your child is raised up in their education and what they learn and what they obtain. This is our responsibility, something that we need to do. So again, I hope you enjoyed the topic. I hope you got some good information from it. You received the hidden treasures from that. We want you to stay connected with us. You're going to definitely check us out. Go to YouTube, Facebook, email us. We would love to hear from you. Roxanne, we're going to ask you to do what we usually do. You can make a sum up statement and then just pray us out.
Sure. Just one thing. I'm just kind of reflecting on the Bible verse that talks about how our people fail because of the lack of knowledge, right?
Yes.
And so I think about that verse, and I think about this venue, which is the Hidden Treasures, and I thank God for this venue, and I thank God for the ministry of you and Morris, because what you are actually doing, you are putting the information out there, and you're allowing people to be aware of what's going on from a different perspective.
Amen.
And that is so powerful.
Thank you.
So I thank God for this venue. This has been a blessing to many positively. I'm confident of that. People talk about this broadcast all the time.
Amen.
So those who are listening, please keep listening. Information is powerful. I think the two hosts here do a dynamic job.
And we gotta go.
And we have to go.
Thank you for your words. Thank you for your words. Pray us out, because the next show, if you're staying tuned, Knicks versus Nets review comes up right after us. So we're going to say a quick prayer. The flyer is going to be up the screen, how you can contact us, and we'll see you next week. Please pray us out.
Lord, we thank you for your grace and mercy. We thank you for everything and all things. We ask you to please continue to bless and motivate and push and lead and guide those listeners. We also ask for your direction of our two hosts here of this blessed venue. In Jesus' name, amen.
Until next week, Hidden Treasures.
The most influential urban radio talk show live from the BXNY. The Matrix Radio Vision Live with DWI. Live from the BXNY.